They called him worthless. They disowned him. They threw their own son out onto the street with nothing but the clothes on his back. That rich family never expected him to return. Especially not as the ruthless CEO of their biggest rival, ready to take everything. It's that awful, sinking feeling, isn't it? That feeling that in the cold light of day, the bad guys always win, and kindness just gets you humiliated. Have you ever just lost faith? This is the story of Anthony Ward, the disowned son now playing a high-stakes game of revenge. But it's also the story of Chloe Robinson, a brilliant, kind-hearted employee being crushed by the same corrupt family. This isn't just a revenge plot. It's a shocking story of a life-changing surprise, and what happens when a man consumed by hate finds the one person who could be his redemption. But this journey is a brutal, emotional roller coaster. We're talking about a family drama so intense it will make your head spin. To get his revenge, Anthony has to become a monster. But to win the true love he never knew he needed, he might just have to find his soul. The plot twist in this love story will hit you like a truck. Get ready. If you believe that justice and true love are worth fighting for, then you've found the right channel. Comment below what's one word for a family that does this. Like this video as a sign of respect for anyone who's ever been underestimated. Share this with one person who needs to see that a comeback is possible. And please, subscribe and hit the bell. Because you are not going to believe what happens at the final board meeting. Let's go. The whispers in the boardroom weren't just talk, they were the first tremors of an earthquake. The rich family at the head of Ward Industries, oh, they thought they were untouchable, didn't they? They'd long forgotten the son they'd cast out, the one they'd callously branded worthless. But that disowned son was coming back, and he wasn't exactly rattling a tin cup. No, Anthony Ward was returning as the new CEO of their biggest rival, and he wasn't just knocking on the door. He was preparing to kick it clean off its hinges. You see, this wasn't just business, it was a deeply personal revenge plot, years in the making. The air in the room crackled with a shocking tension you could almost taste. When Anthony Ward, a ghost from their past, finally strode in, the collective gasp was. Well, it was delicious. He was no longer the boy they humiliated, he was a rich man in his own right, radiating a cold power that froze them in their seats. The announcement of a hostile takeover was a surprise that hit them like a physical blow. This wasn't the Anthony they remembered. That boy was long gone, replaced by a ruthless CEO who had clearly been forged in the very fires they'd lit to discard him. His eyes, once warm, were now pure ice. Every word he spoke was calculated, a scalpel aimed at the heart of their legacy. It was a stunning transformation, a life-changing pivot from the boy they called worthless. The drama was only just beginning, and frankly, it was impossible to look away. The Ward family. Let's just say panicked is an understatement. They stared at this disowned son like he was an apparition, a specter of their own sins. The patriarch, the same man who'd disowned him, was sputtering, his face a lovely shade of crimson. It was a truly emotional scene, watching the power shift so abruptly. They had built an empire on arrogance, and now, the very foundation was cracking. This family drama was heating up, and fast. Anthony Ward hadn't just shown up head come prepared. He knew all their dirty little secrets, every skeleton in every mahogany closet. He wasn't just a rival, he was the ultimate rival, the one they had inadvertently created. This wasn't a corporate maneuver, it was a surgical strike. The shocking part wasn't just the takeover, it was the precision of his attack. He was dismantling the rich family's defenses from the inside out, and this revenge was clearly just getting started. His voice cut through their stunned silence, sharp and final. "You taught me a valuable lesson," he said, his gaze sweeping over his brothers and father. "You taught me that in this world, you either build your own power, or you get crushed by someone else's." This rich man had learned his lesson well. The hostile takeover wasn't just a threat, it was a promise. It was the beginning of his calculated redemption, and their downfall. He moved toward the door, his presence lingering like a winter storm. I'll see you at the preliminary hearing. Try to look solvent. The dismissiveness, the sheer contempt, was perfect. He didn't even look back as he left them in the ruins of their shattered confidence. They had humiliated him, cast him out, and he had returned as their executioner. This family drama was about to become a public spectacle, and Anthony was directing. But hey, raced the kicker. As this rich man unleashed his righteous revenge on the family that humiliated him, he had no idea what, or rather, who was waiting inside the company walls. He saw Ward Industries as a rotten monolith, a nest of vipers just like his family. He assumed everyone there was corrupt, part of the system that threw him away. He hadn't counted on a simple, overlooked employee, someone who would change everything. He hadn't counted on Chloe Robinson. Now, let's talk about Chloe Robinson. If Anthony was a storm, Chloe was the quiet, steady earth beneath it. She was brilliant, the kind of brilliant that doesn't need to announce itself. She was the actual brain behind Ward Industries' last 3 successful campaigns, but you'd never know it. Her boss, a slick Ward cousin, had happily taken credit for all of them. For Chloe, it was just another Tuesday. She was kind-hearted, perhaps to a fault, in a Shark Tank. She was constantly overlooked, a background player in this high-stakes family drama. While the Wards preened and postured, Chloe was the one fixing the catastrophic errors they made, often late into the night. And her reward? She was constantly humiliated by Anthony's arrogant siblings. They'd mock her second-hand blazers or her simple lunches, finding any excuse to remind her that she wasn't one of them. She was, in their eyes, as worthless as they once found Anthony. This drama didn't just stay in the boardroom, it infected the whole office. The rich family culture was one of brutal backstabbing and casual cruelty, and Chloe Robinson was their favorite punching bag. Yet, she never let it break her. She held on to her integrity with a quiet fierceness, believing that good work and a good heart had to mean something, right? It was a shocking display of resilience, but also, let's be honest, a bit naive. She'd hear the whispers about the hostile takeover, about the mysterious CEO of the rival firm. The office was buzzing with a mix of terror and excitement. Chloe, however, just kept her head down.
She had a major project deadline, one that, of course, Anthony's sister had dumped on her at the last minute. This project was her one shot to prove her worth, to finally get the recognition she deserved. It was a life-changing opportunity, if she could just survive the wards. She wasn't driven by revenge or power. She was driven by a simple desire to do good work. She saw the flaws in Ward Industries, the corruption, but she also saw the good people, the ones in the trenches with her. She stayed not for the rich family, but for them. She was the unofficial protector of the little guys, the administrative assistants, and the interns, the ones the WS of the world didn't even see. This made her a statistical anomaly in the cutthroat world of corporate drama. She was genuinely good. And in a world like this, genuine goodness is often mistaken for weakness. Anthony's family saw her kindness and labeled her a doormat. They saw her brilliance and called it luck. They humiliated her precisely because she was a reminder of a decency they themselves lacked. She had no idea that the disowned son, Anthony Ward, was the one leading the charge. She just saw the corporate attack as another storm to weather. She was focused on her work, unaware that her quiet integrity was about to place her directly in the path of 2 colliding worlds, the decaying empire of the Ward family and the cold, calculated revenge of the rich man they'd thrown away. The stage was set for a truly emotional collision. On one side, a man so consumed by his past revenge that he believed everyone was corrupt. On the other, a woman so defined by her integrity that she was blind to the danger she was in. This wasn't just a family drama. Anymore, the pieces were moving for a love story, though neither of them could possibly see it yet. Anthony, now firmly in his role as the avenging CO, didn't waste a second. He began his corporate attack with a ruthlessness that was, to be frank, shocking. He didn't just want to buy the company, he wanted to bleed it dry, to expose every lie his rich family had ever told. His revenge plot was meticulous, and he was taking no prisoners. He saw Ward Industries not as a company of people, but as a monument to his own humiliation, and he was ready to tear it down. He viewed every single employee, from the executives down to the mailroom, as complicit in his mind. They were all corrupt, all part of the machine that had chewed him up and spit him out. If you lied down with dogs, had muttered to his new board, you get fleas. He saw them all as spineless sycophants who had propped up the family that humiliated him. They were all part of the family drama, and they would all pay the price. This, of course, included Chloe Robinson. Had seen her name on personnel file senior analyst. Overlooked, high potential, low morale. He scoffed. To him, high potential just meant she was smart enough to be truly dangerous, and low morale meant she was weak. He saw her as just another cog, someone who smiled and nodded while his family ran the company into the ground. He had no time for her or anyone else who had survived the Ward regime. The first volley was brutal. He initiated a forensic audit, freezing key accounts and challenging the company's recent acquisitions. This created chaos, pure and simple. Panic rippled through the departments. People were terrified of losing their jobs. This was the drama Anthony wanted. He wanted them to feel the same instability and fear that he had felt when his family had declared him worthless and cut him off without a dime. His siblings and father were scrambling. They tried to rally the troops, calling meetings and making empty promises about company loyalty. But the shocking effectiveness of Anthony's attack exposed their weakness. They weren't leaders, they were just bullies who had had the advantage for too long. Now, the rival they created, the disowned son, was holding all the cards, and he was playing them with terrifying precision. Anthony, however, felt a strange emptiness in the midst of his victory. This revenge was supposed to feel good, wasn't it? It was supposed to be his great redemption. But watching the stock ticker fall, hearing the whispers of panic, it just felt cold. He was winning. But he was still the same man who had been kicked out, just with a better suit and a bigger bank account. It was a hollow, emotional victory. He needed to get inside to find a final piece of leverage that would guarantee his family's ultimate ruin. The audit was good, but it wasn't enough. He needed something definitive, something that would prove their corruption beyond a shadow of a doubt. This rich man wasn't just planning a takeover, he was planning a public execution. And that's when he had an idea, a plot twist of his own making, to find the real weaknesses. He couldn't just attack from the outside. He had to go in. He would pose as a simple consultant, hired by his own shell corporation, to assess the damage from the takeover attempt. It was the perfect cover. He would walk among them, see their corruption firsthand, and find the one person gullible enough to help him burn it all down. So Anthony Smith, the mid-level consultant, walked into Ward Industries. It was a shocking experience, to say the least. Walking the halls that had been thrown out, it was complicated. He kept his head down, glasses on, acting the part of a bland numbers guy. His goal, find the company's weakest link, the person who would sell out the wards for the right price. His revenge depended on proving that everyone there was as rotten as his rich family. He scanned the employee files his team had gathered, looking for the perfect target. And then he saw her, Chloe Robinson, constantly humiliated, passed over for promotion, underpaid. She was the perfect mark. She had every reason to hate the wards. He figured she was just biding her time, waiting for a payday. He decided he would test her integrity, fully expecting her to fail. He arranged a chance meeting in a quiet conference room. Chloe Robinson, right? Anthony Smith. He was all mild-mannered charm, just another drone. He started small, complaining about the company, the family drama, the stress of the hostile takeover. He was laying a trap, seeing if she would take the bait and complain with him. But Chloe just listened politely, offering neutral, professional responses. She wasn't giving him anything. This intrigued him. Had expected bitter complaints, but she was a fortress. So he decided to escalate. "Look," he said, leaning in, his voice dropping, "I'm not really here for them. I'm here for me. And I think you and I could help each other." He slid a thick envelope across the table. "This is a finder's fee, $10,000, just for finding any irregularities. Anything that could help the other side." This was it. The drama was high. What would you do in her shoes? Be honest. 10 grand is a lot of money, especially when you're underpaid and overlooked. This was the emotional pressure point. Anthony watched her, his eyes cold and assessing, waiting for the greed to take over. He wanted her to take it. It would confirm everything he believed, that everyone was worthless, that his revenge was justified. But Chloe Robinson didn't even look at the money. She looked at him, and her gaze was clear, not with anger, but with pity. Mr. Smith, she said, her voice quiet but firm. I think you misunderstand my position. I work for this company. Not for the wards, but for the company. I won't betray it. She slid the envelope back. You should probably leave before someone sees this. Anthony was stunned. Genuinely, shockingly stunned. Head had her completely wrong. This wasn't an act. She was genuine. She refused a bribe. This simple, overlooked employee had more integrity than his entire rich family combined. It was a plot twist he had not anticipated. He was the CEO of a massive corporation, a rich man playing a high-stakes game, and he had just been checkmated by a nobody. This single act of defiance threw his entire revenge plot into question. His worldview was built on the idea that everyone was corrupt, but Chloe wasn't. This was a life-changing moment, though he didn't know it yet. Head come to find a weakness, a tool for his revenge. Instead, Head found a strength he didn't even know existed anymore, and it bothered him a lot. Anthony, still reeling from his failed test, couldn't get Chloe Robinson out his head. Had been so sure, so cynical. Her refusal was a data point his revenge plot couldn't process. He continued his charade as a consultant, but now he was watching her. He saw how his siblings, his arrogant, entitled family, treated her. They'd drop files on her desk, make jokes about her outfit, and she just took it. She absorbed their casual cruelty with a grace that infuriated him. He was in the break room, getting a coffee, still in his consultant disguise, when his brother and sister too had tormented him most as a kid cornered him. They didn't recognize him, of course. To them, he was just some worthless pencil pusher. Hey, Smith, right? His brother sneered. Stop looking so busy. You're just a temp. Go fetch us some real coffee. The good stuff from downstairs. It was the same old family drama, the same casual humiliation. Before Anthony, the CEO, could react, Chloe Robinson stepped in. She had been quietly heating up her lunch. Actually, she said, her voice calm and steady, Mr. Smith is working with me on the quarterly audit, and I believe the good stuff is reserved for executives, which she added with a tiny, perfect smile, you're not, Mark. You're in marketing. Oh! It was a shocking moment. The siblings were stunned into silence, not used to anyone talking back. They stammered, blustered, and finally retreated, muttering about insolent staff. Anthony was left standing there, completely floored. Chloe, not knowing who he really was, not knowing he was a rich man trying to destroy her company, had just defended him. Him, the disowned son, the rival she had shown him. A total stranger, a small act of kindness, defending him from his own family. It was the most emotional and confusing thing that had happened to him in a decade. This tiny act, the simple defense, began to chip away at his icy resolve. He had built a fortress around his heart, and this woman had just walked past the guards without even trying. His quest for revenge had been his entire world. It was his fuel, his purpose. But suddenly it felt small. This drama he was creating felt petty compared to her simple, quiet decency. He watched her go back to her lunch, as if she hadn't just faced down 2 dragons. Why did you do that? He asked, his voice rougher than he intended. Chloe just shrugged. I hate bullies, she said simply. Doesn't matter if they're rich or poor. Wrong is wrong. It was a life-changingly simple philosophy, one he himself had forgotten. He, the rich man, was acting just like them, just on a grander scale. He was the CEO of a rival corporation, a man who could buy and sell them all, and had just been saved by the one person Head tried to corrupt. The irony was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. This was a plot twist he could never have predicted. His revenge plot was supposed to be clean. They were bad. He was justified. But Chloe Robinson was good, and that complicated everything. This was the first crack in the ice. He was starting to see that his revenge wasn't just against his family, it was collateral damage. And for the first time, he was seeing the face of that damage. This wasn't just a love story starting, it was a fundamental shift in his entire mission. He was starting to question if redemption was found in destruction or in something else entirely. Anthony's cruel family, still stinging from Chloe's defensive consultant, were not the type to let things go. They saw her small act of bravery as a declaration of war. How dare a worthless employee stand up to them? Their rich family egos were bruised, and they decided to do what they always do, destroy the person who challenged them. They decided to set Chloe up for a spectacular public failure. This family drama was about to get ugly. They assigned her an impossible project, a complete financial reconciliation for a disastrous acquisition they themselves had botched. It was a landfill of bad data, missing files, and shady accounting. They gave her an insane deadline, 48 hours, and forgot to give her the necessary security clearances. They were designing her failure, planning to make her the scapegoat for their own incompetence. It was a classic Ward move, pure drama and cruelty. Chloe, naturally, was devastated. She knew what this was. This wasn't a project, it was an execution. She saw her career, everything she had worked for, flashing before her eyes. This was the ultimate humiliation, a shocking betrayal. Yet, after one night of panic, she had the only thing she knew how to do. She got to work. She was going to go down fighting, fueled by coffee and her own unbreakable integrity. Anthony, still playing consultant, watched this whole setup unfold. He knew exactly what his family was doing. They owed him. The CEO, driven by revenge, would have loved this. It was perfect. It was more proof of their corruption, more fuel for his revenge plot. He could use this. He could let Chloe fail, then expose the setup at the perfect moment to maximize the damage to his family. It was a smart, ruthless corporate play, but he found he couldn't do it. He kept seeing her face, remembering her defending him. He saw her working late, her desk piled high with binders, looking pale and emotional. He was at a crossroads. Help her and risk his cover? Or let her burn and prove he was no better than the family he despised? What one word describes Anthony's dilemma right now? It was a life-changing test of his new, emerging conscience. He made a choice. In the dead of night, he used his consulting credentials which, as the CEO of the rival firm, had much higher access than anyone knew to anonymously drop the missing files onto a shared drive. Just a few key spreadsheets, the ones that unscrambled the whole mess. He told himself it was just to see what she would do, a variable in his experiment. But he was lying. He was helping her. The next day, Chloe, armed with the new data, didn't just meet the deadline. She delivered a masterpiece. Her report was brilliant, clear, and devastating. It didn't just fix the reconciliation politely, but surgically exposed the original incompetence of his siblings without naming them. Her intelligence and virtue shone. She had taken their trap and turned it into a showcase of her own worth. At the presentation, Anthony's siblings were left speechless. They'd expected a tearful failure. They got a masterclass in corporate finance. And Anthony, watching from the back, finally truly saw her. She wasn't a victim. She wasn't a cog. She was a quiet warrior. He was forced to see her true worth, and it made him question his own. This was no longer just a revenge plot. This romance, this something, was changing him. Well, things just got complicated, didn't they? Anthony Ward, the CEO bent on revenge, was now conflicted, to put it mildly. His entire revenge plot was built on a simple, binary world. His rich family was evil, and everyone associated with them was corrupt. But Chloe Robinson had just blown that worldview to smithereens. She was good. She was brilliant. And, damn it, he was starting to feel things for her. This was not part of the plan. He'd find himself watching her, this quiet, unassuming woman who had more backbone than his entire family combined. His growing feelings for Chloe were a serious problem. They were a distraction. They were weakness. How could he focus on his intricate corporate drama when he was busy admiring the way she handled his arrogant siblings? This love story was budding in the most inconvenient place possible, the battlefield of his own making. His quest for revenge had been all-consuming. It was a cold, pure fire that kept him going for years. But now, it was clashing with a new, warm, and frankly terrifying emotion. He would sit in his high-rise office at the rival company, looking over the city at Ward Industries, and he wouldn't just see a target. He'd see the building that held her. This emotional attachment was a life-changing liability. This was no longer a simple family drama. He was torn. One half of him, the disowned son, had been called worthless, screamed to burn it all down, to make them pay, to not let anything stand in his way. The other half, a part of him he thought was long dead, wanted to protect Chloe. He wanted to shield her from the very storm he was creating. It was a shocking internal conflict. He tried to double down on the revenge, had to prove a new legal attack, freeze another asset, trying to reignite that cold fire. He was still a rich man with a plan, after all, but the wind fell hollow. He'd just be thinking about how Chloe would be caught in the crossfire. Would she lose her job? Would she hate him when she found out who he really was? The thought of her looking at him with disgust. It was a surprise to him how much that thought hurt. This internal battle was agonizing. He was the ruthless CEO, the master of this game. Yet, his feelings for Chloe were making him second-guess every move. His revenge plot demanded he see her as collateral damage, just another employee of the enemy. But his heart, a word he hadn't used in years, was starting to whisper that she was the only one who wasn't the enemy. He was caught between his past and a future he never thought possible. The redemption he sought through destroying his family was now at war with the redemption he felt just by being near her. He felt like he was being torn in two. This love story wasn't just a complication. It was a fundamental threat to his entire identity. He realized he had to make a choice. He couldn't be both the avenger and the protector. He couldn't destroy Ward Industries and simultaneously save the best part of it. The plot twist was that his own heart had become the biggest obstacle to his revenge. He had to get this under control. He had to push her away. For his plan to work, he had to make her hate him, driven by his new, desperate need to protect his revenge plot from himself. Anthony decided he had to sever this emotional connection. He couldn't be the kind consultant anymore. He had to revert to the man who had become the cold, ruthless CEO. He needed to put distance between them, to reinforce the walls Chloe's kindness had started to breach. He decided to confront her, not as the bumbling Mr. Smith, but as someone with power. He found her in the archive room, organizing the very files had used for his attack. He dropped the consultant charade. His posture changed. The mild-mannered Smith was gone, replaced by the commanding, icy presence of Anthony Ward. He started, his voice dripping with the condescension had learned from his rich family. This loyalty of yours is naive. You're a hamster in a cage, Chloe, and you're thanking the owners of the bars. Chloe looked up, shockingly unfazed. Excuse me? She said, not angry, just confused. This was not the man who had been humiliated in the break room. This was someone else. Who are you to tell me about my life? She asked, her voice quiet but gaining a steely edge. This drama was escalating quickly, and she wasn't backing down. This was his chance to push her away, to make her see him as just another corporate monster. In the man who sees the truth, he sneered. You're brilliant, and you're wasting it here, protecting a family of vipers. Or maybe, he added, twisting the knife, you're just not smart enough to leave. Maybe you're just worthless. He used the word they'd used on him. He wanted it to sting. He wanted her to hate him. But Chloe Robinson was not his family. She didn't crumble. She didn't cry. She stood up. She actually stood up, closing the file in her hands with a sharp thud. I feel sorry for you, she said, her voice shaking, but not with fear, with anger. You walk in here, acting like some rich man who knows all the answers, but you're just as broken as they are. You see corruption everywhere because that's all you know. This was a life-changing confrontation. She bravely stood up to him, a nobody employee against. Well, she still didn't know he was the CEO of the rival firm, but she knew he was dangerous. My character, she said, her voice ringing with clarity. is not for sale. It's not naive. It's mine. And it's clearly stronger than your power, whatever that power is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have work to do." She turned her back on him. Turned her back. Anthony was left standing there, completely wrecked. He had thrown his worst at her, his cynicism, his power, his cruelty. And she had handled it. She had proven once again that her character was stronger than his power. He had tried to be the villain, to make this love story impossible. But all he had done was prove to himself, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that she was magnificent. This was the ultimate plot twist. His attempt to destroy his feelings had only magnified them. He was losing this battle, not against his family, but against his own heart. His revenge plot was in critical condition. He was starting to suspect that true love was a force far more powerful than revenge, and that terrified him more than anything. He left the archive room, his head spinning. He had to end this. He had to accelerate the plan. This family drama had to come to a head now, before he lost his nerve completely. He was a disowned son, and he would have his revenge. He just had to ignore the emotional hurricane named Chloe Robinson. The wards were cornered. Anthony's real attacks, the legal and financial ones, were tightening the noose. They were desperate, bleeding money, and the drama in their rich family was reaching a fever pitch. They needed a scapegoat, and they needed one now. And that's when they discovered something. A consultant named Anthony Smith had been seen meeting secretly with Chloe Robinson. Even worse, security logs showed him in the break room with the siblings and her defending him. To them, this was a shocking betrayal. They didn't see kindness, they saw conspiracy. They found the anomalous file drop on her server, the one Anthony had planned to help her. They put two and two together and got corporate espionage. It was the perfect plot twist for them. They could paint Chloe, the worthless employee, as a spy, a traitor working with a rival firm to bring them down. It would buy them time and create a diversion. They didn't just fire her. That wouldn't be ward enough. They called a company-wide emergency meeting. They dragged Chloe Robinson to the front of the auditorium, in front of all her colleagues. Anthony's sister, dripping with fake, emotional tears, announced that they found a snake in their midst. She publicly accused Chloe of corporate espionage, of selling secrets to their biggest rival. Chloe was blindsided. She was confused, horrified. She tried to deny it, but they had proof: the security logs, the secret files. Her colleagues, the ones she had protected, stared at her, a mix of pity and accusation in their eyes. This was the ultimate humiliation, far worse than any snide comment about her clothes. They were destroying her reputation, her life. This family drama was collateral damage, and she was the primary casualty. "You're fired, Chloe." The patriarch boomed. "Try to look like a strong leader, and you'll be hearing from our lawyers." They had security escort her out of the building, not even letting her get her coat. She was publicly shamed, fired for a crime she didn't commit. This was the reward for her integrity. This was the price of her kindness. Anthony, still disguised as Smith, was in the back of the auditorium. He watched the whole shocking thing unfold. He knew it was a lie. He knew he was the reason she was being fired. His files, his secret meetings. His family was framing her to save themselves and to get back at her for the humiliation she had dealt them. He could stop it, right? He was a CEO, a rich man. He could stand up, reveal himself, and end the charade. This was a life-changing moment. All eyes were on Chloe, but the real test was for Anthony. Would he save the woman he was starting to love, or would he protect his revenge plot? This wasn't a love story. It was a tragedy unfolding in real time. He watched. He just watched. As she was dragged out, she made eye contact with him. Just for a second. Her eyes weren't angry. They were just broken. And in that moment, Anthony Ward, the powerful CEO, did absolutely nothing. The quest for revenge had just cost him the one thing he was starting to believe was true love. Chloe Robinson was, for the first time in her life, utterly broken. She was left jobless, standing on the curb with a small box of her personal items, her name and reputation completely destroyed. The shocking speed of her downfall was breathtaking. 1 minute, she was a company's unsung hero. The next, she was a pariah, a corporate spy. The drama of it all was too much to bear. She went home to her small apartment, the accusations ringing in her ears. Corporate espionage. Traitor. She was heartbroken. She had poured everything into that job. She had believed in her work, in her colleagues. She had believed naively that her integrity and kindness were a shield. But they hadn't been a shield, they had been a target. The rich family had used her goodness against her, twisting it into a weapon for her own destruction. The public shaming was the worst part. She thought about the faces in the crowd, the whispers, the way everyone suddenly looked away. She had been humiliated on a scale she couldn't comprehend. And for what? For defending a quiet consultant? For doing her job too well? It felt like a sick joke, a plot twist in a story she never asked to be in. She believed her integrity and kindness had led to her ultimate ruin. What was the point of being good if this was the reward? The family drama of the Wards had finally, irrevocably, consumed her. She felt worthless, and for the first time, she almost believed it. The Wards hadn't just fired her, they had validated every cynical, bitter thought she had ever tried to fight off. She sat in the dark, her phone buzzing with texts from curious, not concerned ex-colleagues. Each buzz was like a small electric shock. She felt completely, utterly alone. This emotional rock bottom was a cold, dark place. The Wards, the rich family she had served, had cast her out just as surely as they had cast out their disowned son all those years ago. She thought, with a bitter, hollow laugh, about Anthony Smith, the man she had defended. Where was he? He had disappeared. Had been in the audience. She knew it. Had watched her get torn apart, and had said nothing. He was probably on it. Another one of their tests or cruel games. The love story she hadn't even let herself begin to imagine. Well, that was the most pathetic part of it all. This was more than just losing a job. This was a life-changing moment of despair. Her entire value system had been inverted. The Wards had taught her a terrible lesson in their world. Decency was a liability. Kindness was a weakness. And integrity. Integrity was just a fancy word for unpaid. This was her ruin. And as she sat there, the full weight of her situation crashing down, she had no idea that her public execution was part in a revenge plot she couldn't even fathom. She thought her story was over. But in reality, this shocking event was the very thing needed to trigger the final act and the redemption of a man she thought had betrayed her. Anthony watched her get dragged out. He watched her humiliated, and he let it happen. Why? In that crucial, life-changing moment, his revenge plot won. The cold, calculating CEO beat the man who was falling in love. He told himself it was strategic. He told himself he couldn't blow his cover, that the family drama had to play out. But that was a lie. The truth was he was weak. In that split second, as his rich family accused her, a dark thought, a serpent, had slithered into his mind. What if they're right? What if the shocking plot twist was that she had been playing him? He was the rich man, the CEO of the rival firm. Maybe she had figured it out. Maybe her kindness, her defense, her integrity. Maybe it was all just a long con, a way to get close to him, to leverage his position. It was a moment of weakness, a projection of his own cynicism. He, the disowned son, had been betrayed by everyone had ever trusted. Why should Chloe Robinson be any different? He let her take the fall, believing, just for a second, that she might have been using him after all. He let the poison his family had injected into him, that everyone is corrupt, that everyone is worthless, win out. He left the auditorium, his stomach churning with a toxic mix of victory and self-loathing. His revenge plot was intact. His family had fallen right into his trap. They had publicly framed an innocent woman, and he had the consultant's proof. This was great for his case. But the emotional cost was staggering. The look in her eyes as they dragged her away. That wasn't the look of a con artist. It was the look of true love being executed. This drama was far more complicated than Head planned. Head wanted a clean, surgical revenge against the guilty, but he had just sacrificed the only innocent person in the entire equation. He had become the very thing he hated. Head humiliated someone to protect himself, just as his family had done to him. The cycle was continuing, and he was the one turning the wheel. He went back to his real office, the sterile, glass tower of his rival corporation, and he felt nothing. No, that's not true. He felt sick. The redemption had been chasing felt further away than ever. He had all the power. He was a rich man, and he had used it to crush the one person who had shown him any kindness. It was a hollow, disgusting victory. He sat in the dark, the city lights blurring below him. This was his win. This was the moment his revenge plot was fully realized. He had proven his family was monstrous, but in doing so, had proven he was too. The shocking truth was that he had let her down. He had failed her completely and utterly. And then the guilt. Oh, the guilt. It was a physical weight, crushing him. It wasn't a strategic moment of weakness anymore. It was a catastrophic moral failure. He had let his past, his family drama, his hate, blind him. He had let them make him one of them. And he knew, with a certainty that chilled him to the bone, that he had just made the biggest mistake of his life-changing existence. The guilt was a fire, and it burned hotter than his revenge ever had. Anthony, the CEO, was racked with it. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't work. The image of Chloe's broken, betrayed face was seared into his mind. That one sliver of doubt, what if she was using me, was now screamingly, obviously false. It was the desperate justification of a coward. He, the rich man, had been a coward. This was his emotional rock bottom, far lower than when had been a worthless, disowned son. He had to know. He had to be sure. He was a man of data, of proof. His revenge plot was built on it. So he did what he did best. He dug. He initiated a deep dive surveillance pull from his consultant days, not just the edited clips his family had used, but everything. He wanted the raw footage from the audio, the server logs, the hallway chatter. He was going to find the truth, even if it destroyed him. And, oh, did it? The surveillance footage was devastating. He found the clip of his siblings in their office after Chloe had defended him. They weren't just angry, they were plotting. That little bitch, his sister had sneered. She thinks she's so smart. Let's show her what smart gets you at Ward Industries. Call Dad. I have an idea for our espionage problem. It was all there, premeditated, malicious, a shocking confirmation. He saw the footage of them planting the evidence on her server, laughing about it. He heard the audio of them coaching the IT guy on what to find. This family drama wasn't just corrupt, it was pure evil. They hadn't just suspected Chloe, they had chosen her. They had framed her, completely and deliberately, to be the public sacrifice for their own sins. The drama was worse than had imagined. He watched it all, his blood running cold. And in that moment, he realized a plot twist that changed everything. He had been so wrong. So wrong. Chloe wasn't just an innocent person in this battle. She was the only innocent person. He was guilty. His family was guilty. The board was guilty. Every silent employee was guilty. But she wasn't. She was the only one who had acted with true love and integrity from the start. This was his life-changing moment of clarity. The footage didn't just prove his family's guilt, it proved his. He had watched them do it. He had stood by. His redemption was not in destroying his family. It was in saving her. His entire revenge plot had been built on a false premise. He thought he was a victim. But the real victim was a woman had just let be humiliated. He looked at the screen, at Chloe's face from a security camera, smiling at a colleague, helping an intern. She was the goodness his rich family had tried to crush. She was the goodness they had crushed in him. And in that emotional instant, his entire mission shifted. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about justice. His redemption arc was beginning, for real this time. He, Anthony Ward, the disowned son, the powerful CO, was going to tear down his family's empire, not for himself, but to clear her name. He was going to burn it all down. For her. Anthony Ward's redemption arc began not with a bang, but with a click, a keystroke. He was still the ruthless CEO, still a rich man with immense power. But now, that power had a new, singular focus. His revenge plot had been dark, personal, and he now realized, selfish. This new quest. It felt different. It felt clean. He was going to use his power not to destroy, but to rebuild the one thing had allowed to be broken Chloe. He began working in the shadows, a ghost in the machine. First, he had to stop the blacklisting. His rich family was not content to just fire her. They were actively calling every rival firm in the city, poisoning the well, ensuring the corporate spy Chloe Robinson would never work in this town again. This was the ultimate family drama power play, and it was shocking in its cruelty. So, Anthony made his own calls. As a powerful CEO of the biggest rival, his word carried weight. He called the same CEOs his father had called. Heard you got a call about Chloe Robinson, he'd say, his voice casual. It's a lie. The wards are framing her to cover their own fraud. She's the real deal. In fact, if you don't hire her, he'll take it as a personal favor. To the wards, a beautiful, elegant threat. The blacklisting stopped. But that wasn't enough. He had to clear her name. He started leaking the real information. Anonymously, of course. He sent the surveillance footage of his siblings plotting the real Dramato, a few select financial journalists who smelled blood in the water. He didn't just leak to them, he orchestrated the narrative, framing it as a desperate rich family sacrificing an innocent employee. He secretly used his power to sabotage every single one of his family's attempts to recover. When they tried to get an emergency loan, he, as their largest creditor, a plot twist they didn't know about yet, blocked it. When they tried to sell off a subsidiary, he outbid them through a shell corporation. He was dismantling them, piece by piece, not with a sledgehammer, but with a scalpel. This was his redemption. It was a quiet, meticulous, and utterly devastating campaign. He wasn't just fighting for Chloe, he was becoming the man he thought she deserved. He was using his power not to inflict pain, but to correct an injustice. It was the most emotional, life-changing work he had ever done. The worthless, disowned son was finally proving his worth, not by becoming a rich man, but by acting like a good one. He didn't contact her. He knew he couldn't. He had no right. The man who had let her be humiliated had no right to her comfort. No, this redemption was for him. He had to earn the right to even apologize. He had to fix this. And as he worked, the revenge that fueled him for a decade finally, completely evaporated. It was replaced by something else. A burning, righteous anger, yes, but also a deep, profound sense of hope. He wasn't just clearing her name. He was clearing his own. He was fighting for justice. And he was realizing with a shocking clarity that it felt a whole lot better than revenge. The shift was complete. The revenge plot was dead. Anthony Ward, the CEO who had returned to destroy, was now fighting for a completely different reason. He wasn't fighting for revenge anymore. He was fighting for justice for Chloe. He looked at the mountain of evidence, had compiled the footage of his family framing her, the financial records of their fraud, and he didn't feel the cold satisfaction he'd expected. He felt a hot, righteous fire. This wasn't about the disowned son anymore. He realized that Chloe represented something far more important. She was a personification of all the goodness his rich family had tried to crush. In the company, in the world, and most importantly, in him, they had tried to make him hard, cynical, and worthless. They had taught him that kindness was weakness and integrity was for fools. They had humiliated him until he became a mirror of their own cruelty. And then came Chloe. She was the plot twist he never saw coming. She was kind, even when humiliated. She was honest, even when offered a bribe. She was brave, even when facing down his powerful siblings. She was everything his family drama was not. She was a proof that his family's worldview, the one that had consumed him, was wrong. She was, in a shocking way, his redemption made flesh. This realization was life-changing. His whole quest had been pointed in the wrong direction. Had thought redemption meant proving his family wrong, becoming a bigger, richer, more powerful rich man than they were. But that was their game. Had just been playing by their rules. Chloe had shown him a different way. True love, true strength wasn't about power. It was about character. So he refocused his attack. It was no longer a hostile takeover. It was a liberation. He wasn't just trying to win. He was trying to save the company from the poison of his family. He was fighting for all the other Chloes in the building, the good people trapped in a bad system. He was fighting for the goodness she represented, the goodness they had tried and failed to stamp out of him. This emotional shift changed his strategy. He didn't just want to buy the company, he wanted to cleanse it. He prepared his final move, not as a rival, but as a reformer. He gathered his proxies, his legal team, and the damning evidence. The final board meeting was approaching. It was meant to be a vote on the takeover. Anthony, however, was planning to turn it into a trial. He was fighting for justice for Chloe, and he knew that meant more than just clearing her name. It meant making the people who hurt her accountable. It meant tearing down the system that allowed them to do it. This wasn't a love story in a traditional sense. He wasn't trying to win her. He was trying to be worthy of her. He was about to expose his family's crimes, not for his own revenge, but to prove her innocence. He, Anthony Ward, the disowned son, was finally ready to stop fighting his past and start building a future. And that future, he knew with absolute certainty, had to be built on the truth. The day of the final board meeting arrived. The air was thick with tension. His rich family looked smug. They thought they had one last trick, one last loan to save them. The room was packed. His father, his siblings, the entire board, all the people who had either actively humiliated him or passively watched. This family drama was about to have its shocking series finale. Anthony Ward walked in, not as a consultant, but as himself. The board recognized him. Of course, the disowned son. They sneered. "What are you doing here, Anthony?" His father boomed. "This is a private meeting." Anthony just smiled, a cold, sharp smile. "I'm here as a voting member," he said, sliding a stack of documents to the lawyers. "It seems that while you were mismanaging your funds, I was acquiring your debt. I am, as of 900 a.m. today, the majority shareholder." The silence was absolute. The plot twist was so sudden, so total, that his father's face went from red to a ghostly white. This rich man wasn't just a rival CEO, he owned them. But Anthony wasn't done. This wasn't just about the takeover. This was about the truth. "But I'm not here to talk about finance," he said, as his team dimmed the lights and turned on the main projector. "I'm here to talk about her." On the screen, in crystal clear definition, was the surveillance footage. The board watched, horrified, as Anthony's siblings plotted to frame an innocent woman. They saw the clips of them laughing, of them planting the evidence. They saw the shocking, undeniable proof of their crime. This was beyond corporate malfeasance. It was a criminal conspiracy. Anthony Ward stood before them, not as the worthless boy they cast out, but as a man holding their entire world in his hands. He revealed his identity as the CEO of the rival firm. He revealed their fraud, their lies, their setup of Chloe Robinson. He laid it all bare. His revenge plot had been a Trojan horse for a public trial. "You can just run this company into the ground," he said, his voice quiet but echoing with power. "You destroyed lives. You tried to destroy her." He looked at his father. "You call me worthless, but you are morally bankrupt." The emotional weight of that statement, from the disowned son to the patriarch, was a life-changing blow. The vote was a formality. Anthony Ward, the disowned son, had successfully and legally taken control of the company. His revenge was technically complete. He had won. But as he looked at the shattered faces of his family, he felt no triumph. He just felt ready for the final step. His family was screaming, threatening lawsuits, calling him a monster. It was just noise. Had done it. Had taken back his power, not by becoming a rich man, but by exposing the truth. The redemption was almost complete. Now he just had to fix the one thing that truly mattered. The boardroom was in chaos, but Anthony Ward was an island of calm. He stood at the head of his table, and raised his hand. "Silence," he commanded. And for the first time, they were silent. This was the ultimate status reversal. The worthless disowned son was now their king and their judge. This was the plot twist a decade in the making. "My first act as CEO," he said, his voice sharp, "is to clean house." He looked directly at his brother, his sister, and finally, his father. "You're fired. All of you. Security will escort you out." His family erupted. It was a shocking, emotional scene. They screamed, they threatened, they begged. This family drama was ending not with a whimper, but with a primal scream. "You can't do this." His father roared. "I built this." "No," Anthony replied, his voice cold. "You broke it, and you humiliated the one person who was trying to hold it together." He nodded to security. As his family was physically removed, screaming about revenge and betrayal, Anthony turned back to the stunned board. "My second act," he continued, "is to correct a grave injustice." He ordered the doors to the auditorium opened. The entire company, which had been summoned for an emergency announcement, was watching. He turned on the microphone. "My name is Anthony Ward," he said, his voice booming through the building, "and I am your new CEO. For years, this company has been run by a rich family built on lies. Today, that ends." He publicly and with meticulous detail cleared Chloe's name. He played the footage again, this time for everyone. The entire company saw the setup, the frame job. He declared her innocent and offered a public, profound apology on behalf of the company he now owned. It was a shocking moment of public redemption. "But an apology isn't enough," he said. "The woman you all shamed, she is the standard. She is the integrity this company has been lacking." He paused, took a breath, and delivered the final life-changing line, "Which is why my third act as CEO is to promote Chloe Robinson. She will be your new president." The crowd gasped. It was the ultimate surprise. And as if on cue, Chloe herself walked in. Head sent a car for her, begging her to come just to see something. She was standing at the back, confused, watching this all unfold. He walked from the stage, through the stunned crowd, right to her. The love story was now public. He stood in front of her, no longer the CEO, no longer the rich man, just Anthony. "They humiliated me," he whispered, his voice thick with an emotion he could no longer hide. "They tried to make me like them. And I did. But you, Chloe, you saved me from my own hate." He had his revenge, but it was his redemption and his true love that had won the day. In the end, Anthony and Chloe's story reminds us of something powerful. Revenge might feel strong, but redemption is what's truly life-changing. Kindness isn't a weakness that makes you worthless. It's the superpower that can literally save someone's soul, even your own. If you also believe that integrity is the real strength and that true love can change destiny, then you found your place. This isn't just a channel, it's a community. Subscribe and join our family of people who root for the good. Now, let's do 3 quick things to keep this energy flowing. Like this video as a sign that you believe good always wins a family drama. Comment below with this emotional question: what was the one moment you think Anthony's redemption truly began? Share this with one person who needs to see that a life-changing plot twist is possible, no matter how dark the story gets. And don't stop here. While you wait for our next story, know that our channel is a treasure chest of thrilling journeys, just like this one. Explore our older videos and discover other shocking, emotional stories that will grip you. And to make sure you don't miss any of the incredible stories we have yet to tell, hit that notification bell to stay tuned for updates. You won't want to miss the next wave of emotions. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.